What is going on, man? It's your boy Don back here with another video, man, and today I got y'all with the top 5 point guard builds that I have seen thus far, and I got a range of heights and all that other stuff. If you want to see any other type of builds, definitely make sure you put it in the comment section, man. But alright, let's get right into that video. So alright, man, first build on the agenda is the 6'5". I feel like this is the best all-around build that you have. You can see this build does miss a few key spots just by a little bit, but that's what the cap breakers are for. Now you only need 2 to get you to that 93 driving dunk. Of course, those 5, 4, 99 3-point shot, but everything else is pretty much good. But I will tell you, make sure you look at this vertical right here. You are missing a little bit of vert, so you're gonna need to put some cap breakers there as well to make sure you can get the best out of that 93 driving dunk, because you know you want to be able to make sure you get all the contact packages. And if you are looking for a good dunk package, Russell Westbrook is the way to go for any of the builds that can unlock it with like the height restrictions and all that. But this is probably the best one. If you want more pass act, you got this build is probably one of the best in-game builds that I've actually seen, because you have so much room for cap breakers. So pretty much anything you don't like about the build, you can fix with just a couple of cap breakers. Like we were talking about earlier, at 3-point you can get that up, pass act you can get that up. There's like so many different areas where throughout the year, while we're collecting all these cap breakers, you can get exactly what you need. See that vertical I was talking about? It only takes 1 cap breaker to get that to an 80, which is what you're gonna need for that driving dunk. But you can also add agility. I don't think for a guard, if you have a team, I don't really see a point in going past like 80 agility. But if you want more speed, that's there. If you want more steal, that's there. And just 2 cap breakers get you to an 85, man. Once they patch these steals, because I do believe they will, this is going to be a killer build. It's going to be able to do everything on the court that you need to be able to do. And you can even get your rebounding up if you would like. If you want to be able to, you know, get on them boards, something crazy, you got that as well. So next up, we do have the 6'6" build, the 2-way 3-point shot hunter. And of course, you will need cap breakers for pretty much all these builds. I ain't even gonna keep saying it, but you will need cap breakers in order to make this, because it's lacking in a little bit of areas, but the cap breakers definitely make up for it. So for the driving dunk, you wanna add 4 to that. And that's gonna take you all the way up to a 93. You're gonna add 2 into the 3-point shot to get you up to a 93 there as well. Get that limitless up a little bit higher. If you want more ball handle, I'm not saying you need it, but if you want more, you can definitely add a couple there. The same as perimeter defense. Like if you want to add a little bit extra in perimeter defense, get to that 92, make you just a little bit better. A point guard that can actually hold his own out on the perimeter. I mean, there's so much space for cap breakers on this build, and I think that's what makes it special. But we can go ahead and take a look at the actual cap breakers so you can actually see it visually, so you know where you might want to add those +1s, +2s, and all that other stuff. So like I was saying earlier, you add 4, you can get to that 93 driving dunk, add 2 right here to get to that 93 3-point shot. But you do have a lot of room for cap breakers on this build. You can get your ball handle up, I mean, to a 93 if you want. I don't see why you would do that, but you could. And strength and speed, this build has so much room for cap breakers. Like when you're making a build, this is kind of how you want to make it, so that you can have like a little bit of longevity on the build itself. Because you got to remember, we're going to get so many cap breakers, so you kind of have to be thinking about that as you're designing your builds now for in the future when you have more of those cap breakers. Me right now, I have about 9 if you include the ones from build specialization, but my crew's about to hit level 30, season 2 is about to drop, so that's going to be 11 right there, and this build actually has room for all of those. I think the best thing to do for a guard is to make sure you have all that room. I haven't made my final point guard build yet. And next up, we do have the 6'7" physical ISO sniper build. I mean, I really like this one, especially for those of you who like to have a little bit taller guards. There are just a couple things missing from the build. It's pretty much, this one probably needs the least amount of cap breakers if I had to point to one. But this driving dunk, once you add 5, it does take it up to an 89. I know it's super low right now, but you can get a ton from cap breakers. If you want to do the thing where you get the 98 mid-range in order to do fades a little bit better, I would caution you on that, just because the patch is coming. So be kind of have that in the back of your mind, you know what I'm saying, that there is a patch coming. Season 2 is likely going to change how the game is played. I'm thinking fades are going to get patched. We can talk about that later on in the video. If you want extra ball handle, you got it. This build has a ton of room for cap breakers. Like I said before, I think that is the most important thing to do. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the cap breaker screen. So because we went with that 61 driving dunk, we have all this room to add all those cap breakers, man. Those +5 does get you that 89. The build's kind of filthy with that 89 driving dunk, makes the build completely different. You're not so reliant on, somebody passing you the ball, or, you're not being able to ISO and get to the rim yourself. If you want extra ball handle, like I said, on all those other builds, you can even get rebounding if you feel like that's something that will make your point guard build just a little bit better. To me, this is probably one of the better builds. Like if you wanted to play twos or random rec, this build has enough diversity to be able to affect the game in different ways. And next up, we got the ball hawking 3-point shot hunter, a really cool name. And this is that 6'1" build. You can see the height and weight and stuff up there at the top, but for this build, this one is very cap breaker dependent. So for the driving dunk, you have to add 5 in order to get that to an 87. That 3-point shot, if you want that 99, you're gonna have to add 5 cap breakers. I do like this build has more pass accuracy. This is probably a better pro-am type of thing. This 6'1" is kind of made fade dependent, so I will, give you in that little disclaimer right there. This build is fade made, but it does have decent perimeter defense. You do get a 91 steal, which steals aren't really in a great place right now, but if Mike Wang is telling the truth and the devs are telling the truth, then steals are going to be back very soon. And once steals are back, this build will already have it for you. Very high speed, so when you pass the ball, you can, off ball, get open. The pass back, like I say in my group chat, is probably the least utilized good play that happens. So if you have a team, I think this 6'1" can definitely be good for you. The one thing I will say, even with this defense, you 6'1", so you might not get the greatest contests out there on the perimeter, but that is what it is. But you already have the vertical for that 87 driving dunk that you will be able to get. And you only need to add 1 right here to perimeter to get that to an 85. So it'll be decent after that. Let's take a look at the cap breaker screen. But like I was saying before, you can add all those points to driving dunk, get that thing up to an 87. That +5, get that 3-point to a 99. And you only need 1 to make sure you can get the perimeter defense up to an 85. I feel like that's really important, especially on small builds. Like on bigger builds, you can kind of be a little more lax with maybe you can have like a 74 or a 76 or something like that and still be decent because you're a bigger build. But because this build is so small, the least I would go on defense is probably that 85. And last but certainly not least, we do have the 6'4" ball hawking 3-level creator. I think this build is probably one of the ones that I see the most. It does need a lot of cap breakers as well, so I will warn you about that. But build is pretty solid. You start off with layups. This build doesn't really get dunks. Now you can add as much as you want to 3-point or mid-range. Both of those are at a 93 right now. I feel like that's a good spot to stop, but if you have a bunch of cap breakers and you want to use it, add +5 to the mid-range shot or something like that and get that 98. I really think you're good on the 3 though, for sure. Now, one thing I would do to this build, I would definitely add 5 to that speed with ball. I feel like that just makes the build that much better. Of course you can use like a max +2 or whatever to make it better, but I would rather just use a max +1. Maybe use like one of the ones you get from a season pass or from the crew or wherever you get it from. I think if you take that up to a 91, that's just that much better. This build is very well rounded on defense, has an 82 and an 85, very solid. Because this build does not dunk, we don't need the vertical. We only got that up to a 56. Build does have both speed and agility. This build will be able to play defense, so you can play the top of the zone if you have 5, or you can do whatever you need to do to get those stops. Now we're gonna take a look at the cap breaker screen. Now, if you do want this build to be able to dunk, you can add all of those in there. I think it gives you a 73 dunk. You'll be decent at it. Not too good, not too bad, but you'll be able to make sure that when you actually do go to the rim that you can make those shots. But if you get forced into a layup, you already got the 85, so you are good to go. Now, you only need a +1 on your perimeter defense to get that up to an 85. I feel like 85 is just kind of like the standard for guards. Now, like I was saying earlier, when you're making these builds, I would definitely say if you're about to make a new build or you're looking at a new point guard build, I would definitely say wait until season 2 drops. I feel like that is, as always, the one big patch that happens when the game drops changes the game completely. Just think back to 2K25, man, the steals are crazy. Then they pretty much nerf lockdowns to the point where it doesn't even make sense to have one. Or just think about just that type of stuff, man. Like, they really changed the game a lot, and I would highly suggest not making a build that's like fade dependent or just exploit dependent. That's how you kind of keep a build that's good all throughout the year, and especially right now with the cap breakers, make sure you make a build that has a ton of room for cap breakers. Like, maybe go lower on some things with cap breakers in mind. Definitely go back and forth in and out of the builder to make sure that you can get to what you want to get to. Well, just a couple cap breakers, because you will have a lot. Honestly, probably in like a month, everybody gonna have like 10 to 15 cap breakers. I'm already at 9, and I know just starting off the season one and the crew one, that's gonna be 2 more. I'm gonna have 11. So I mean, I just don't want y'all to make builds and then have to make new builds because you didn't think about cap breakers. So definitely let me know what y'all think about the top 5 builds that I've seen so far for the point guard. I would say my favorite is probably that 6'5", just because it is taller. It has a lot of different things it can do, but the little small guards still do have a lot of utility, especially like the 6'1", because you do get mini marksman, which I feel like is a solid badge. But yeah, let me know what you think is your favorite, and definitely let me know what type of build y'all made, man. I definitely want to see those guards that y'all got, you know, to inspire me. Maybe I can make something just completely off meta and they can go crazy and I can have fun with it. But yeah, I'll catch y'all boys in the next one. It's your boy Don, and I'm up out of here. But before you get up out of here, man, do me a favor, like the video, share it to somebody, man. Somebody that's looking for a point guard build, somebody that point guard build sucks. Share them this video so they can take a look at these different builds and they can inspire them. Don't make these builds exactly. I mean, these builds more so like fit my play style. You got to make ones that fit yours. But yeah, I'll catch y'all boys in the next one. Peace.